morning. Nice to have you here. I'm Jason DeRusha. Welcome to CBS News Minnesota Morning Update. Glad to have you with us. Got your coffee, got your tea, you're ready to go. Here comes the weather. And it's fine. It's going to be fine, right? Here comes the weather. There it is. Steady temps today, about 23. You know, the temperatures are cooler than yesterday. I don't know, it's maybe going to feel about the same. Yesterday kind of was, I mean, the temperatures look nice from inside your house, but it was so windy. We are going to get a breeze again this afternoon. Cooler night ahead, 18 degrees. So that's kind of what we got going on for today. Another below average day in Minnesota. Let's talk about this. It's one of the biggest controversies at the Winter Olympics right now. Russian figure skater Kamila Valieva being allowed to compete despite she tested positive for a banned drug. Here's the headline from CBSnews.com. She leads it. Yep, she's in first after the short program. So this is the background, and maybe you've been hearing about this, right? This young Russian figure skater, she tests positive for a banned medication in December. The result only came to light after she helped the Russians win team gold last week. And so first she was banned, then they changed it, and she is being allowed to skate in Beijing because she's 15, and so she's a protected minor. Now, some are comparing this to the case of U.S. sprinter Sha'Carri Richardson. And Sha'Carri tweeted this. Remember, she was banned from the Tokyo Olympics because she tested positive for marijuana. She tweets, "Can we get a solid answer on the difference of her situation and mine? My mother died, and I can't run. She was also favored to place top 3. The only difference I see is I'm a black young lady." You know, obviously you can get into the details about the reasons for the differences. And in fact, you could argue that the Russian skater took a drug that could be performance enhancing where marijuana is not. We just want your thoughts on this. You know, they announced that if the Russian skater wins, there's not going to be a ceremony, right? It's just very weird. Like, she's 15, you're sort of empathetic. You're like, hey, you know, she likely didn't know what she was taking, where Sha'Carri Richardson certainly did, and she knew what the rules were. Just tough all the way around. Love your feedback. Can't wait to see what you have to say about it. And if it maybe makes you, you know, there always will be an asterisk. There always will be a stain on this Olympic competition. Kind of a shame, because women's figure skating, I think, is always one of the marquee events for sure. Let's talk about the news headlines, because today we are expecting to hear more from some of these police officers who were on scene. You know, we've never heard an officer speak about what their version of the story was of what went down during George Floyd's killing. And so Tutau back on the stand today. He told the court that his role that day was to control traffic and onlookers, and he was relying on his fellow officers to care for Floyd's medical needs. And Tao was the officer who was kind of standing guard. He was the first of 3 officers who will be testifying. All of them will testify in their own defense. And we never heard Derek Chauvin testify, so we just really have never heard from an officer. And so quite interesting in court, and we'll have more of that coming today. This morning, we are seeing more signs of hope in the fight against COVID-19. The virus is sending fewer Minnesotans to the hospital. These numbers are all good news. It's really important with COVID to kind of stay on track and stay up to date as to what's going on, because, well, it sort of guides us for those who are looking to follow whatever the situation is in the here and now. And so in the here and now, there are about 900 patients all over Minnesota who are in the hospital for COVID right now. ICU numbers, lowest they've been since August. Non-ICU numbers, so kind of the rest of it, lowest they've been since November. So the hospitals are seeing this good news. And in Alina, for example, patients are allowed at the clinics and the hospitals to have 1 visitor per day now. The health system has sort of locked that down as Omicron was raging, and now they've loosened the visitor restrictions because the cases are going down. Starting tomorrow, Minnesota lawmakers and staff will no longer have to wear masks in the House chamber. It's kind of political at the state capitol, right? It was the Senate that was mask-free. Now the House going mask-free. Masks will still be required in other areas of the Capitol and in offices and in committee rooms where the public will be allowed in. Disney dropping its mask rules as well at parks in Florida and California starting tomorrow. Fully vaccinated guests will not have to wear a mask inside any resort location. You know, the transportation rules are still in effect, so buses, shuttles, monorails, masks are still required there. Let's show you this video that we first reported as breaking news on WCCO this morning. This is in Long Island, New York. Just a raging fire. Boy, don't you think about this? Whenever you see a gasoline tanker out on the road, like what happens if this thing crashes? And this thing crashed into a building, burst into flames, and you see that massive fire. Our CBS affiliate in New York reporting that the truck driver and 2 firefighters had to be taken to the hospital. Obviously, you know, you think about the noxious fumes and the character of the smoke. The tanker was carrying 13,000 gallons of gasoline. One witness said at one point the flames were at least 60 feet high. Fascinating and troubling story in Mexico. Maybe you've heard about sort of the way the cartel in Mexico has glommed onto avocados. You think of the cartel as dealing in drugs, but they deal in agriculture as well. And avocados are very, very lucrative. And someone threatened an American plant safety inspector in Mexico. This is not just like the guy received one threat. This is a concerning situation. And the U.S. needs to have safety inspectors out there to make sure the stuff coming into our country is okay. So the U.S. said, we're done. No avocado imports until we can ensure food inspectors are safe. And this is a big deal because nearly 90% of avocados imported to the U.S. come from Mexico. There are some avocados from California and I think Texas. They grow some avocados there too. But it's a insignificant percentage, and the experts are saying avocados could cost $5 or $6 a pop. Wow. And I know, like, you can go to Target right now and get an avocado for 90 cents or whatever. Some stores are losing money on avocado, but if you go to if you go to Lunds and Byerly's, $3. So just, you know, it's on the way up, and perhaps for good reason, because obviously we want to keep our people safe. At a time when police traffic stops are really under the microscope, a Minnesota-made app appears to be making a difference. We first reported about Turn Signal a year ago. It connects drivers to lawyers in real time during traffic stops to help de-escalate, inform them of their rights, make sure everybody gets home safe. Turn Signal has found a partnership with Blue Cross Blue Shield of Minnesota, a pilot program to provide the app services for free for thousands who live in the city of Brooklyn Center. We spoke with the Vice President of Racial and Health Equity about that partnership.
In the aftermath of the killing of Dante Wright, the community came together. They wanted to have a more community-led response. The mission is to do something about the public health crisis of racism.
And for a community that has gone through so much in the last year and a half or two, it's really important to be able to be in that community to help those folks feel safe when they're driving.
Brooklyn Center pilot goes until the end of the year. Residents just have to download the app, show that you live in that city. There are also options for those who can't afford the service regardless of where you live in Minnesota. All right, what's the deal with the Minnesota Vikings, right? We know they hired Kevin O'Connell. We know it. It's official, but not officially official. Couldn't they just send the guy a contract, sign it? No, they need to bring him into town, have the dramatic video of him walking into Vikings headquarters. He'll be here tomorrow after the Rams have their parade. So they'll have their parade today, and then in he comes tomorrow. Maybe if he's looking for a house, he could just slide right into this former coach's house. Mike Zimmer just put his Inver Grove Heights home on the market for $2 million. So tasteful. Where's the purple? Where's the Vikings pennants? This is just like generic white rich person home. White paint. All over the place. I mean, it's nice, Inver Grove Heights, beautiful community, lovely bathroom, lovely bedroom. Do you like generic art? It's available for you. Clearly a staged home, right? There's an indoor athletic court. It's a 7-car garage. Also, like quick access to the Vikings facility and quick access to the airport for when you lose your job. Are you ready to go to outer space? Would you like to send me to outer space? Virgin Galactic says starting today, they're selling tickets for a 90-minute trip to outer space. You go high above the Earth. A little weightlessness. There's Richard Branson. It's hard to say if it, I mean, it's a lot of money. I don't know if it's a good value. One ticket, $450,000. You want it, you got to put down a $150,000 deposit. Whew. Travel insurance, does that cover it? Like if something goes wrong, do you get your money back? I'm not sure. Let's talk about the controversy over the Russian skater and the controversy about kind of drug testing and enforcement. Maggie May. Yeah, she's 15, but she should be disqualified and told she can't compete. It's a learning experience, way to enforce the rules. Yeah, it feels like it's double standards for the Olympics. It's hard. You have different, like, organizing bodies that run all these things. So our track athlete was under the U.S. track and field rules. Could be seen as biased towards people of color. Sure could. Sure does. Thanks, Maggie. Here's Pam. I don't think she should have been allowed to skate. They should all go by the rules. Yeah, that's sort of where I feel on this. Thanks, Pam. Here's Suzanne. I believe unless she has medical necessity to take 3 heart medications, then she should compete, could compete. Yeah, right. Makes sense. Otherwise, no way. I mean, I feel like it's her team's fault, but like your success is part of your team and your failure is too. So while it may seem unfair to her, the individual, she gets the benefit of the team when things are going well. So I don't know. Thanks, Suzanne. Here's Cindy. Same deal. Should be DQ'd. Yeah, you guys are all in sort of the same spot here. Rules are rules. I think there's room for flexibility sometimes, but you know, you look at the Sha'Carri Richardson situation and think, like, gosh, did they really need to enforce that on her? Tricky. I don't know. It's tricky. Good controversy always makes sports fun. And drug testing, it's always going to be a controversy for sure. Morning update from CBS News Minnesota. Thanks for hanging out with us. We'll do this again, same time, 7:30 tomorrow morning. Have a great day.